Here we go. So yesterday, I've had a rough week, really rough week. So I decided, like, I'm definitely, since I'm off work this Sunday, going to church, getting up, going to church, and it's first Sunday. I'm about to have communion. Like, I'm about to get the enemy up off my back because I felt myself drifting into, I don't want to say depression because it wasn't that heavy, but like immense sadness, right? So I get up Sunday morning, go to church, hear the word hit me, okay? It gave me a lot of understanding, just alignment of how you're supposed to be in a certain space, or how God tried to direct you a certain space so that you can get what you need. So the word was like hitting me. I'm like, okay. I get out of church after I had communion and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm getting out of Michigan. I need a break still. Like, okay, this is a lot to process. I understand a little of what's going on in my life, but I need a break. So I started looking up flights, start packing a bag. I'm like, I'm out of here. Getting going. I waited too long to actually book the flight, started getting late, and I'm like, you know what? You can, first of all, I'm cheap. New me, 30-year-old me, don't want to spend $1, okay? Like, what? I spend bread on food, but on like some real stuff, like I don't want to spend my money. So I'm like, your tank already full. Why don't you just go ahead and drive that little hour and a half drive to Ohio, to the place you usually go to? So I'm like, you know what? Talking to me to me. Okay, that's a good idea. Go ahead and shoot to Ohio. So I sent somebody my information, somebody that I trusted with I didn't want anybody to know that I was about to skip town for real, because I don't want to have to explain what's going on with me or anything. So somebody who I know, who actually knows everything that I'm dealing with, I sent him my information for safety reasons. Just let him know where I'm at and how to, just to, I almost slipped and said a name, but just to make sure somebody knew where I was at for emergency. Like, if you saw something got weird with my location, or you ain't nobody heard from me, like, you can say, hey, this, and this is where she went, whatever. So anyways, back to the story. I get to Ohio, check into my room, give me something to eat. Immediately when I got in my bed and stuff, it was just, I started processing emotions and feeling through some stuff, because I don't like crying in front of people, letting nobody. I feel like I was in the space where didn't nobody know me. First of all, I'm in a hotel room, so obviously wasn't nobody in here. But I just felt like I was in a new world now that I could just release all the way. It's not the same type of it's a mental thing for me. I can't fully release when I'm in a space that's familiar for me. So even though this is kind of familiar, y'all get what I mean. just listen. Okay, so I start processing some emotions. Get up the next morning, this morning. Went to breakfast, and I have an app on my phone because I like to hike. That lets me know where different hiking trails are, because that's where I find my peace. That's where I process my feelings and emotions, and where I talk to God, like where I get all my clarity from. So I find a trail. I go walk the trail, and when I pull up, it's a little intimidating. It's like, it's a trail first of all, I'm in Ohio, which is a red state, a Trump state. I haven't encountered anything racist, but a mental thing, like just from seeing the media and, stuff on social media, on TV, just stuff you hear, I just start getting frantic. Even though I've been coming here for years, to the area for years, haven't had any issues, all of a sudden now my heart is pounding out of my chest, and I'm like, you're just a black girl. You have no type of protection. You know how to fight, but when it comes to like some real stuff somebody about to try to do something to you, can you really defend yourself against somebody with that's carrying some weight, or they might have a weapon or something? So I'm like, you know what? Get out the car. So I get out the car, start walking up to the woods to start walking the trail, because the trail is still paved, but it's heavily, with trees, and because it's the woods. So I started coming down the steps, and I'm like, oh, nah. You don't know what's in here, who in here. Like, like, all right, somebody got your location, but you're going to be up in these woods. Like, I just was thinking the worst possible thing, like, what could happen to me while I'm in here. So I turned around. Went to Rite Aid to go grab me a bottle of water from down the street. Then I'm like, don't be no sucker. You ain't no sucker. God got your back, okay? If all else fails, God got your back, sis. Like, you ain't no sucker. If somebody try to do something to you, ain't no weapon formed against you, Come on, let's do it. So I pull back up, and I'm like, okay. So I go a little further. I start walking down. They have some steps before you start walking the trail. So I start walking down the steps. I'm like, yeah, I'm from the east side of Detroit. I mean, my daddy is, overdoing it, talking to myself like, I got this, let's do this. Start walking, and I became a punk again. I'm like, oh no, these the woods. Oh, this the woods. This ain't like, them trails I used to walk at back in Michigan, or the trails that the hiking that I've done in Atlanta. Like, this ain't none of that. This ain't the hiking I did in Baltimore and DC. This ain't none of that. This the woods. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna head out. So I walk back to my car, and I'm like, you know what? It got to be a different entrance. Like, this is a state park. Maybe they have a different entrance. So I drive around, find a new entrance. I'm like, yes. The new entrance has like families playing at the park, women sitting having lunch together, and people fishing. So I'm like, okay, I get it. Even though it was still the same, I didn't see any brown people. I just felt a little safer. Like, if anything goes down, somebody's here to see, and be a witness to some stuff popping off for real. Like, I was kind of out in the open a little more. So as soon as I got out of my car and started walking the trail, everybody that I made eye contact with was just smiling. Hi, how are you? Such a nice day outside. And I'm like, hi, hello. And I just immediately felt like extremely safe and comfortable. And I threw my hood up. I was kind of hesitant at first to throw my hood up because, black people in hoods, Then I was like, girl, you good. Like, you God's child. Chill out. Go ahead and throw your hood up, because something about my hood being up make me feel real like I'm a turtle in a shell. Like, not only don't bother me, but it's like a form of a safety mechanism for me as well. But I'm walking the trail, got my hood up, and I'm just talking to God and processing some emotions and thinking about my week and some things that had took place. Ooh, I'm getting emotional, because still trying to get through some of that stuff that took place. In a bit of waterfall, just praying and talking to God, trying to get clarity on my situation and what I should do, and if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now, to make sure that God is guiding me and that I'm not being guided by my emotions. I'm doing what the healthiest thing I need to be doing for myself right now, and on the path that God wants me to be on, and to make sure that the next move that I make is a move that God wants me to make, not a move that I want to be making. Because every time I step outside and try to do some stuff that's for me, and that God didn't give me the okay for, I mess myself up and be feeling the thorns in my chest, because I be like, oh my God, and it's like, God, like, hey sis, who told you Who told you to go right in the first place? I told you to go left. You did that. So now you feeling the repercussions of that. Chuck it up. Put a Band-Aid on that wound. Let's go ahead, head to the left like I told you to do in the first place. So I try to make sure I talk to the guy every 5 minutes before I do anything. Hey, what you think? What you think about this? Can you verify this? So I was just praying and walking the trail to make sure that I was getting the proper guidance on my next right move. And as I'm walking this trail, I realized I'm back at that entrance, the original entrance that I was intimidated by. And I'm like, hold on, this is that same space. Like, there's nothing really here. I didn't realize that if I would have just walked a little further down that trail, I would have saw the waterfall. I would have saw other people. I would have, the sun was up and out. The trees had thinned out a little more so you could see clearly down the path. I was so afraid of what I was conditioned to think or feel. It wasn't even an experience of mine that I had, but just from hearing other people's experiences or being aware of how stuff could go wrong, I let that hinder me. I burnt gas coming all the way around trying to find a new entrance to do what I originally came to do, when I could have just came down this way. It would have made it a little easier for me originally. And so it hit me because it was like, you came to this entrance twice, Jessica. You left. You came, was intimidated, you left. And you talked to yourself. You said, you know what, you got this. Did it again. And the thing that I'm actually dealing with on a personal level is something that I've encountered twice. And both times have felt intimidated by or didn't know how to. I knew that it was something that I wanted to do or a place I wanted to be, but because of past experience or what I knew, fear-based on what this looks like. I'm trying not to get too personal without telling. I might tell that story later. I gotta see. I don't want to prematurely tell certain stories, and I don't know what my outcome's going to look like. I don't want to come with the outcome and the outlook of, oh no, this no, and then I really be going in a different space with it. I don't know. So back to the story. I immediately processed, like, you came to the same exact space. The reason why you're even in Ohio and walking this trail is because you've encountered something twice that you were intimidated by and in fear of and didn't know how to handle it. And you start trying to take a different path. And the other path, one time I tried to take another path and that hurt me worse. Another time I took a different path and I was just like, I'm going to do the safest thing to do and avoid it. Avoid almost like how I completely went around. And I was like, oh, okay, it's open. I'm going to go to the open space. I'm not going where it looks like the unknown. I'm not going in a space where it's an unknown space and I don't know. I can't see. I don't have clarity on where I'm going to end up. And like God immediately gave to me, like, sometimes you don't need to be in control. You don't need to see the entire path. Stay present. Walk it out. I got this. Like, I was trying to tell you then, you good. I got you. And you still frantic, anxiety, panic attack. And you like, nah, I'm backing up out of this. In fear. And so it was like, I just wanted to share the fact that sometimes what we feel is going to be one thing, it could be something totally different. If God led you somewhere or has something in front of you and is giving you all of the confirmation of you good, like I got you, I got your back, just stay present, walk it out. You don't know, just a couple more steps, you really like, oh, okay, this that wasn't that bad. Because now I done drove all the way around, came through the trail from a different direction, and then realized like, oh, that wasn't, it was just a couple, it just wasn't a familiar space for me. It wasn't a place I had ever been. I couldn't see past the trees. And so I automatically was like, nope, I'm heading out. And man, that's an immense lesson for me, because like I've realized how I need to always make sure I'm in control, because I'm so afraid of being hurt or finding myself in a space where I'm like, you should have never went. Like, I feel like if I'm the person making the calls, then I know, I know what's going to happen next. I'm afraid of what happens next because I don't know. And when you're like a believer in God, you trust in Jesus to just guide your path, you don't need the steps. You don't need to know nothing. Just go to where you're supposed to go so you can do what you're supposed to be doing and keep going. And next thing you know, you see in the light, the sun shining, the trees are thinned out, the birds are chirping. You see waterfalls, you're hearing the stream of the river, and everything worked itself out. I love you all. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day.